Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Namaskaram and welcome to the 8th episode of Śiva-Bodha-Mālikā. Today, we are going to look at the form of the Lord as Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti. What is the story behind this form of the Lord? There are two stories that we find in the Puranas. One is attributed to an Asura called as Gajāsura, who had obtained a lot of boons and had started committing atrocities on the earth. And once he even wanted to make goddess Parvati as his wife. And at that point of time, Shiva comes and kills Gajasura and wears the hide of Gajasura, who is the elephant demon, as his dress. And that is why he is called as Krittivasa. The Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti, you have various synonyms. The Gajāsura-samhāra is Matangari, the one who has killed Matanga or the elephant. Ajari, the one who killed Gaja. Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti. And Krittivasa, the one who wore or one who wears the elephant hide. Now this Krittivasa, you find mentioned in the Vedas itself. The term Krittivasa comes for Rudra or comes for Shiva. This is later on associated with these stories in the Puranas, but as they are described in the Vedas, Krittivasa is describing the form of Rudra, to say that Rudra is not interested in silken garments. He is not a devata who is interested in wearing silken garments and adorning himself with jewels and ornaments. He lives in the smashana, wears the smashana vibhuti. Most of the times is nagra, and even if he is wearing, he'll just wear the hide of an elephant, which is considered very unholy. The hide of animals, which is considered unholy, right? That is what he will wear, and he will roam around. It is from that perspective that in the Vedas, he is mentioned as Krittivasa, but in the Puranas we get associated with this story. The next story is that of Shiva coming as Bhikshatana-mūrti. Now this we will see the story in detail in one of our later sessions. But just to give a gist here, the sages were performing yajnas and yagas in Darukavanam. Darukavanam is typically associated with a forest in the northern part of the country. So they were performing yajna yagas, but over a period of time they had grown very arrogant and egoistic, and they had started performing these Vedic rituals for their materialistic benefit rather than for the welfare of the world. So to teach them a lesson and to bring them on the path of knowledge again, Shiva and Vishnu decide to teach the rishis and the rishi patnis, both of them, a lesson. So Shiva comes in the form of a Bhikshatana-mūrti as a mendicant, as a Nagna, right? And the beautiful form of Shiva, which is Nagna, and Vishnu comes in the form of an enchantress called Mohini. So both of them come to Darukavanam. Shiva goes and meets the Rishi Patnis, and Vishnu, in the form of Mohini, comes and meets the Rishis, and the Rishis lose their mental stability and they start going behind Mohini. Same is the case with the Rishi Patnis, they start going behind Bhikshatana-mūrti because of the beautiful form of Shiva. Then they later on realize that they have erred on their part and they have been tricked into this whole thing. So there are a lot of stories connected with this, which we shall speak of when we speak of Bhikshatana-mūrti. But they create different things to destroy Shiva himself, because they know that Shiva is the one who has created this whole trick or ruckus along with Vishnu. So they want to destroy Shiva. They send across different um, aspects, such as fire, such as demons, and when none of this succeeds, finally they send a wild elephant is sent against Shiva to kill Shiva, to kill this Bhikshatana Murti. And Shiva enters into the belly of this wild elephant and tears open the belly of this wild elephant. This is the form of Shiva that we mostly find in most of the sculptures and images. So if you look at the images that you find on the side, you'll find Shiva. Mostly the form of Shiva here is that of Bhikshatana Murti with various ayudhas, and the Prabha Mandala that is surrounding Shiva is a sort of an orb. That orb is nothing but the stretched out hide of the elephant, and you'll find the head of the elephant at the bottom at the feet of Shiva, and the legs will be mostly represented on the top, pointing upwards along with the tail. So this is the typical representation of uh, Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti. So in this form is where Shiva stands as Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti. So these are two sculptures. One you find in Dharasuram, Tamil Nadu, and the other you find in the Brooklyn Museum. This is one that you find in Belur. So these are all representing divine Shiva in different forms. It is represented within the hide of the elephant itself. And here again you can find the head of the elephant at the feet of Shiva. But as I said, this is the most represented form of Shiva as Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti. Now this form of Shiva is one of the Attavirattanams. He is one of the heroic deeds of Shiva, and the temple Tiruvazhuvur near Mayavaram is a temple which represents this form of Shiva as Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti. Here you find in this picture is the form of Shiva, is a bronze idol of Shiva as Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti in this temple. Below you can find the huge head of Gajasura or the Gaja, and the Prabha Mandala is nothing but the hide of the elephant. Here in this picture you find the Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti along with Parvati. Now here, if you look at the bronze idol of Parvati, who is also known as Balakuchambikai or Ilangilai Nayaki, these are the names given to the Devi here. If you closely observe, you will find that there is a Bala Murugan or Skanda, the hip of Parvati. So Parvati is carrying Murugan. She's carrying Subramanya along with her in the hip. So this is also a Somaskanda Murti. So it is having Parvati, it is having Skanda, Uma, Skanda, and Parameshwara. So it is a Somaskanda Murti. And this more correlates to the story that I mentioned about a Gajasura, where Gajasura is lusting for Parvati or is wanting to have Parvati, and Shiva comes in. And so Parvati is there along with Subramanya, the baby Subramanya. So this more correlates with that part of the story as well. So this is the form of Shiva. This is the Utsava Murti that you find in this temple of Tiruvazhuvur, which is the Attaviratana Sthalams dedicated for Shiva as Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti. Now among the Tevara Padigams, it is described as a Vaipusthalam. That is, it is mentioned in one of the Padigams. There is no one entire Padigam dedicated for this temple, but in one of the upper Padigams, you find mention of this temple. So it is known as a Vaipusthalam. That is, you do find the mention of the temple, but there is no entire Padigam devoted for this temple. So this is the story of Gajāsura-samhāra-mūrti. I hope all of you enjoyed this story. Do keep watching the sessions on Subhu's Corner. Do like, subscribe, and as also shared with interested people. Until we meet next with another story, Namaskar.